Hello there, Pursuing Freedom friends. This is your host, Erin Bradley, and welcome to today's show. If it's your first time here, we've got a really powerful conversation in store for you. And if you've been listening for a while, thanks for coming back. I am so excited for today's episode and the weeks to come because I have been working behind the scenes on preparing some tools to share with you that can actually help you move from mindset and belief into action and implementation so that you can truly feel at ease designing a business that energizes you and fuels and finances your life rather than one that sucks the life out of you. Now, for those of you who know me personally, you know that I'm just getting back from traveling to a couple different time zones for back-to-back funerals for some loved ones. And what I was thinking about with this episode today is how when you experience sudden loss or tragic loss in any capacity, it's always this wake-up call, right? Like we have the opportunity to evaluate, are we living life to the fullest? Because since none of us know how long we've got here in this physical body, and we do know for sure that none of us are getting out of here alive, which is something that I've experienced from a very young age. I had a lot of loss starting at the age of 11 and a lot of young friends dying early. And so there's always been this baseline feeling of if not now, when? Like I really want the freedom to live my life to the fullest and I don't want to wait for someday. And so that has been fuel. And whether it's negative or morbid, it is what it is. And it's something that on the heels of these recent losses, I wanted to bring into the conversation today because so many of the coaching clients that I work with, primarily real estate and mortgage professionals, are running their lives on autopilot. So every day you get up, you ask yourself, what should I do today? What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? Who do I need to call? And it's off to the races. And it's just a lot of get up and hurry up. But there's also a common theme around frustration, that there's lack of consistency in the results, or overwhelm, or exhaustion, or in some cases, loneliness. And so I wanted to use this as an opportunity to really pause and explore with radical honesty. How's it working out for you? How is your business either energizing your life or draining it? I read in a book many years ago that work was like a whale in a bathtub and life was squished in around the edges. And when I had read that, that was 100% accurate for how I was living my life. Like when things slow down, I'll be more present. When things pick up, I'll be able to relax. And if you've been in the business a long time, you know it's not that simple. Because if we're overwhelmed when we don't have enough business, and then we're overwhelmed when we have more than enough business, where is the freedom? Because when I've been doing a lot of keynote talks at different conferences over the past few years, I'll ask everybody in the room, why are you doing this? Why are you here? Why are you even tuning into the Pursuing Freedom podcast? Why did you go 100% commission? And the common answer has to do with freedom. It's freedom for time freedom, more flexibility, more financial freedom. And same goes for me when I took that leap in 2007. But I experienced the stress on both sides of the spectrum, where I was stressed when I was financially broke, and I was stressed when I was making good money, but feeling tethered to my business at all times. And so I wanted to use this as an opportunity. Number one, I'm going to be sharing a resource with you that is free to download on my website at pursuingfreedom.com/freedom, because it's the first step to figuring out where you are and then being able to make the decisions to do things differently so that you don't become a victim, or you don't remain a victim to this business, this industry, or the scarcity that was dripped down to you by someone else's fear or someone else's lack who told you how you should be doing it. Because so many mortgage lenders, real estate agents, and other entrepreneurs, they literally run their whole lives around, well, I have to do this, I need to do this, I should do this, I can't do that. And I always respond with, says who? And that's really the tough love that I give to myself, to be able to feel empowered to make decisions that create the life that I want to live and the presence that I want to have, both personally and professionally. So if that sounds like you, this is going to be a great tool for you to download and just work through the reflection questions. And then we're going to actually monitor, how do you spend your time from the moment you wake up till the moment you fall asleep? Because without clarity around how you're actually doing it, there's really no way to make any change so that it can be better. And so you'll just remain on this hamster wheel of someday it's going to get better. And here's the thing. Freedom isn't something that you earn, and it's not something that's granted to you by the external world. I hear people say when things slow down, I'm like, they're not going to slow down. Life is going to keep lifing. So freedom is something we have to claim, and we don't need to ask permission to do it. So what I want to talk about today is this idea of reclaiming your power. In 2015, I hired a coach at a time where my business was extremely overwhelming. I had hired a few people. The business had more than doubled, which sounds like a great problem to have, but I had no clue what I was doing. I had no leadership skills. I was winging it. It was like all hands on deck. And if anybody saw behind the curtain, it looked like chaos. Okay. So I hired a coach to help me get organized and to streamline the business, simplify success, and ultimately experience the freedom that I was after all along. And one of the first things he had me do was write out an ideal week. And I remember sitting there, pausing, thinking, what's an ideal week? I check my emails the moment I wake up. I continue to check my emails to the moment I fall asleep at night. I have never taken a day off. I work when I'm on vacation. What is an ideal week? So what it boiled down to was I didn't believe that I had the freedom to decide how to spend my time. The interesting thing about it is that the byproduct of having no plan is exhaustion, overwhelm, depletion, feeling lonely, like I must be crazy because I'm over here exhausted. Things are going really well. Why am I complaining? And meanwhile, I'm just drowning under the weight of this quote unquote success, right? So if you've been listening to the podcast for a long time, you know that we do talk a lot around mindset and belief. It's the first chapter of every business book you ever read. I mean, if you have business books on your shelves and you go and look, you will find that the first chapter is always about belief. So before we go into action and implementation, we've got to evaluate the belief system. So if you became self-employed because you wanted freedom and flexibility, and if we were to describe that as a feeling, freedom and flexibility feels like ease. It feels like peace, relaxed, present, joyful, adventurous. And when I ask people in a room full of professionals to rate on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does your business feel like that? Oftentimes the number is 5 or below. And so the next question is, do you believe it's available for you to claim? Do you believe there's a world in which you wake up and you move slowly through your morning without being hijacked by the external world through email, text messages, and social media? That you can calibrate and get aligned with yourself to tune in to where your energy is. What's your emotional state today? Are you feeling high and eager and enthusiastic and excited? Or are you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted and fearful and stressed? Okay. And then we take the time to tune the station to the frequency that we want to bring into our day. So we get to shift from within through different practices, and we take our time. That way, when we show up and we share our energy with the external world, we're bringing a version of us that is actually in a state of presence, peace, ease, enthusiasm, eager expectation, right? And joyful. And that version of us is a magnet for right fit clients. So what's so interesting about this is while there's 2 different frequencies to the same destination, and one feels like paddling, and someday I'll come up for a breath of air, and the other one feels like I just got on the life raft and I'm on an adventure going down the river. Well, if two realities exist, do you believe you get to choose? Or do you feel like you have to earn the right through more sacrifice, more suffering, more exhaustion? Okay, so first we've got to address what we believe to be true. I didn't believe it, okay? And so I had to work on borrowing the belief I saw from others. I borrowed the belief that my coach saw in me. I borrowed the belief I saw in other professionals that were implementing what they were being taught. And I started to see people lighten up. And as they began to lighten up, they started to attract more opportunities, more new relationships, better fit clients, and genuinely more abundance overall. but they were doing it with more ease. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the ride I want to be on, right? And so that's number one, is where do these beliefs come from anyway? We've been talking a lot inside my coaching community, the Collective, which is a mastermind that anyone is welcome to join at any time, about the drip of scarcity and fear that comes down from the industry, right? So if you are in the real estate space and everyone around you is working until 9 o'clock at night on a Friday night, a Saturday night, their Sunday mornings, and there's never a day off, and people generally go on vacation and they stay plugged in and they run their transactions and they work from the hospital room after their baby is born or after a surgery. If that's what you've been witnessing, you're borrowing their belief, which is their fear that if they abandon the post for just 1 minute, the whole ship is going to come sinking to the bottom. Okay. Now, if you get in the room with people that present with calm energy and confidence and presence, it's a vibe. And when you see others operating from this lens that I get to choose, and I actually believe it's more professional for me to have an ideal week, and then I get to make exceptions to the rules when I decide to, I feel empowered. And that's what this whole episode is about, is reclaiming your power. And this is being released on August 7th. And, it's been a busy summer. Everyone is juggling life and work and all the things. And sometimes at this time of year, you can be wanting to squeeze the juice out of the rest of summer and the rest of the time with your kids who are at home if you have kids. And you might be feeling a little exhausted. And maybe business has been busy. And so overall, it just feels like you can't take the control. You just have to get through this season. So if that's where you're at, again, I want to challenge you that when your brain says, I just have to, I just need to, I can't slow down, I want you to say, says who? Because when you say I can't, number one, you're defending the fear that you adopted from others. Number two, it's the same as saying I won't, because I'm unwilling to figure out how. And so the way we shift our beliefs gently, okay, because we can't just do a 180, right? But a gentle way to move from I can't, I have to, I need to, I should, is to start to say, I wonder if. I wonder if I could take my first vacation without working. I wonder if I could take 2 weeks off. I wonder who I would need to enlist to make that happen. Wherever you feel stuck or drained by the business, just start to move into, I wonder if I could stop looking at emails before, let's say 8 a.m., let's say 9 a.m., okay? I wonder if I could turn off at 6 p.m. I wonder if I could take Sundays off. Whatever you feel is the thing that's creating the exhaustion and the resentment and the bottleneck in the business, you get to choose. And you start with curiosity. Curiosity starts to move the needle away from fear and worry and doubt and questioning into a place of amplifying your confidence, your momentum, and your empowered ability to make new decisions with a new belief that perhaps, and I know for sure because I've been on both sides of the spectrum, perhaps the version of me that walks into the room relaxed and present and focused and energized and enthused is providing an elevated level of service to my clients and an elevated experience to my loved ones so that I can actually embody the version of me that I claim I want to be, not someday, but now. And that from this belief system, I no longer question if it's going to compromise my abundance. I now know it's the pathway to infinite abundance. Okay? So for the next several months, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sharing some of the resources that we have inside of my mastermind community. So the Collective is a group that meets every single week. We have guest coaches who teach on everything from AI strategies and systems and automations and workflows, all the way to guided meditation, energy management, money blueprint. We have a new coach joining us in September. She'll be coming once a month talking about your outdated money blueprint and how it's holding you back from allowing in more abundance. And when you take this Freedom Audit, I want you to email me back, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to download the form, and it's going to guide you through identifying where are the inefficiencies in your business? How are you spending your time? Is it energizing you? Do you believe your energy is your currency and that the more energized you are, the more magnetic you become? And the more present you are, the more focused you are, the more people feel safe in your presence. And they stop shopping around for a different interest rate or a different agent. They come to you because your energy is the vibe that they feel they can trust. Okay? It's confidence, it's professionalism, it's high level, and it's you embodying an identity that's no longer tolerating the excuses that you absorbed from other people's fear. And once you start to see life through this lens, things get so interesting. Unexpected opportunities, new relationships, unscripted miracles start finding you with a velocity that literally is mind-blowing. It is so fun inside of our community because people often show up at that crossroads of I'm just so burned out or I'm exhausted and I don't know where to go from here. And sometimes things are going really well and they've earned a lot of money, but they feel like they may just walk away from it altogether because their belief system is this is the only way I can stay afloat in this business. And then they start to borrow the belief they see from others. And then they start to experience the results that come from the up-leveled identity. Because from that identity, you're just done tolerating. It's game over. And the doors that open are like infinite doors opening and no longer kicking down the one that's jammed over here on the other side. So freedom and fulfillment don't come from how much more should I be doing. Sometimes people come to me and they say, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I need to get more deals. I need this. I'll hustle. I'll grind. I will do more. I'm ready. I'm ready to go and do more. And my response is actually the magic is in the subtraction. The freedom and fulfillment comes from the elimination of the energy draining activities that are creating the bottleneck in your flow and ultimately your enjoyment of this business. And the last thing I want to leave you with is if you're going to be self-employed and you've been here for a while or you're brand new, you already know this isn't the easy route, right? We did not take the easy route by foregoing a steady paycheck and the safety and security of a job. So if we wanted freedom and flexibility, and we can start to believe it's available to us now, then if we're not going to claim it, what's the point? What is the point of surviving the journey and being a victim to it rather than taking back the wheel and claiming the freedom today? And what's the worst that could happen if you toy with this? Again, from the energy of I wonder if, what if? What if it could feel so much better? What if I could grow my business without feeling so depleted? And what you'll find is this less effort with maximum impact, maximum focus and contribution and presence and joy, it ultimately creates the magnetism for the miracles that you can't see that are hidden here in plain sight. And the abundance then flows with ease, not effort. So if this sounds interesting to you, pop over to pursuingfreedom.com/freedom. These free resources that I'll be sharing on the upcoming episodes are also living inside of my Instagram profile at pursuingfreedom.com. If you have questions or you heard something today that spoke to your soul, shoot me a DM. It's me in the DMs, and I genuinely love hearing from people. And with no strings attached, what ends up happening when people DM me is I send them my number and we hop on a call. And I love taking a walk or a long drive and having a conversation, swapping stories, and helping each other become energized by the conversation because the new ideas are born out of the conversations. And I am obsessed with seeing this unlock in so many people. The amount of people in my community that are having more fun than ever and experiencing radical results is so extraordinary that I'm obsessed with making sure that everybody else believes it's possible and then starts to take the action to make it reality. Okay. So I would love to talk with you. I would love to meet you. And if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, some of you know I've already hopped on calls with you. So just shoot me a DM. Let's hop on a call. Go ahead and download the free resource. It's the Freedom Audit. And shoot me an email back after you've done it and let me know what popped out for you. What illuminated for you? What kind of moment of clarity did you get where you're like, oh, yeah, I see where I've been wasting time on things that don't drive results, and they definitely don't energize me. And my energy is my currency. So if my energy is depleted, I'm bottlenecking my business. When my energy is high, I'm magnetizing opportunities. And I get to decide. I'm in charge, and so are you. All right. I love you as always. And if you found any value in this episode, please share it with somebody who needs it. If you know someone who's feeling that overwhelm, that exhaustion, or feeling alone in their journey, they're not alone. You're not alone. We are all human beings in this experience. So we are all navigating the same emotional spectrum. And I would love for you to leave me a review on Google or Spotify, wherever you're consuming this, because the reviews really help more people find this content so more of us can build a life we don't need a vacation from. I love you so much. I'll see you next week.